on Saturday. The day is nice and bright and sunny here with Dave Rodman, the voice of Maryland Racing here. Just a heads up, guys, we're going to have plenty of scratches here. A couple of rider changes, late rider changes that we will update you on the way through the card. But Dave, welcome to the morning show.
Yeah, perfect day to be on here this morning and today at the races. What a great streak of weather we have going in Maryland, allowing us big turf fields and again, those Thursday entries here in Maryland Swamp Thing. We have 10 races on Thursday. Got to get through the weekend, though, and try to decipher some of these wide-open races fast and firm, Collie.
Yeah, of course. We had it was a little bit more chalky yesterday. Still had some prices yesterday, though. It's going to continue on here today. You'll see within our picks that we have a couple of these races all across the board. A very well done job to the racing office for putting up a card like this. We've got some great handicapping races that we have for you here in Laurel Park. Let's get things started here with this first leg of the early pick 5 in this maiden claiming 20,000, going 5.5 on the turf for the girls, 3, 4, and 5. Scratches in the 1, 11, 15, and 16. The 13 and the 14 do run. Dave, you have the number 3 on top. X-Gene here gets the turf for the first time officially for Phil Capuano with Thais Pustina.
Yeah, so I tried to get on the turf last time out. The race taken off the grass, finished 6th after showing speed at a mile. But there's some indication that this filly might like the grass. A bandbox filly out of a damn BioTurf by Lionhearted, who made $97,000 on the grass. And look at the stat for trainer Philip Capuano. Excels when putting maidens on the turf. The last 5 years, he's 4 for 14. He's only started a training course the last a couple of years for Phil Capuano, so that limits the starters, but still a gaudy 29% win rate, a positive ROI of $5.03.
That's what I like.
Something about the grass he sees in a horse when he puts them on the turf, especially maidens, wakes them up, and this filly ran a big one debut at Timonium in August, finishing second there to a first-time starter, Red Hat Hannah, and last 2 times with blinkers on the dirt, but bred there on the dam side to like the grass this afternoon. The stat in the top pick from me, number 8 in here, is Glamorous, a horse who was drubbed in the sloppy going last time out, did not like the off-going, was shown some ability on the turf when beaten in a photo finish back in June over this course in the nose bob there, so the length and a half clear, another filly she's going to face this afternoon, Intel Agent.
Yeah.
That race is intriguing to me in the form darkened by the sloppy track last time out. In number 10 is St. Devereaux, another filly coming from the slop race that was rained off the turf and moved to the main track. Finished a good 4th behind Classy a little bit there. No really closing kick that day, but I think she'll be in range in this spot in here. St. Devereaux is 6, nearly a lady, first time Lasix. And I'll tell you what, small sample for Greg Wilson, first time Lasix. 1 out of 3.
Right, there we go.
But it was an 11-1 winner.
Right.
Right? So I think you got to take a second look here at this filly. Ran well in the grass. First time Lasix, small sample, but he's put a filly in the winner's circle before getting Lasix for the first time. Well, Callie, I want to talk about Ariel Moon a little bit. I mean, she's a filly who's kind of broken my heart a few times. I thought she was a winner, and then when she finally crossed the wire first at Timonium, got disqualified.
Well, and the thing about that can help you out a little bit is that was at Timonium. We're now back on the turf, so I think with that kind of pushing her forward a little bit in the sense mentality-wise, then she returns back to Laurel Park on an off track where she has been okay. That was the first time she dealt with a wet dirt. She dealt with it well enough, but I think we're going to come in with a bit quicker fractions, hopefully, than this time on the turf than in previous efforts from that Timonium confidence booster there, Dave.
Yeah, one of those wide-open races, right?
Yeah.
If you believe Ariel Moon's going to go all the way, finally get it done, well, maybe she's going to do it today. If not, after that, the race becomes kind of a bit of a scramble to kick off that early pick 5 with a mandatory payout.
And that's exactly how I go. I mean, the turf has been a little bit helping with a couple of these horses on the front end, as shown through the races the past 2 days. So that's kind of the angle I go with that. Dave Rodman, 3, 8, 10, 6 there with some value there for the Phil Capuano first on the turf. Let's go ahead ahead to race number 2 that starts that early pick 4 in a starter optional 12.5, going a mile and 16th on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. You go with the number 6 on, near the outside post for Jamie Ness. Rondon Scorsese here. Jamie Rodriguez gets the call. Let's look at that off the turf effort from last time out, Dave.
Yeah, this is on a sloppy track, and I tell you, he was down inside there, down the backstretch run. That's him in the green cap, the blue silks, down inside, kind of covered up in the second flight, chasing Good Luck Chuck, the 9-5 favorite, heading into the far turn. And then kind of kept on evenly through the stretch to finish third. I'm not quite sure whether he really liked that one abbreviated mile. He's going to do a little better today with his early foot stretching to the 2 turns this afternoon. He's certainly got some speed. See how he kind of gets out of there heading into the far turn? Looks like he's dropping back. But through the stretch there, once he gets to the outside, maybe perhaps to a little bit better footing, he kept on trying. He's a trying horse, and at a mile and a 16th with a short run into the first turn. Shoot the Messenger, no speed there. Fun-loving Criminal, kind of an off-the-pace type if he wants to be. My Danny Boy gets the rider change with Forrest Boyce. Not strong fractions up front. I guess he'll kind of position himself maybe off of number 4, Morning Thoughts, heading around that first turn, and we'll see what happens after that. So he's going to be a top pick in here. And his best races at Parks back in January, February have come at the mile-plus distance. He won back-to-back back there following the claim into the Nest Barn.
Exactly. So then, morning 6-2-5-4 there for Dave Rodman in that early pick 4 to begin things there on the turf. Going on to race number 3, we're back here on the turf in the starter optional 12.5, going a mile here for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratches in the 7, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Change the jockey in the EP Milton, the number 6 horse, to Xavier Perez. You go with the number 3 Southern House from Argentina. 1 going short over at Santa Anita, and then Louisiana Downs now finds himself here at Laurel with Angel Cruz still on top.
Yeah, this is a horse I know that Keith Ussel kind of chased a little bit. And I thought his last effort here at Laurel, which was his third start after a 472-day layoff, was okay, actually. He broke a beat slow at the start, Kelly, and then inward as well. Gathered some momentum in the stretch, but was no match for the very speedy and informed Rad Paisley at the time. But now, coming back to the turf, he's run some big turf races out in California in the back machine there, especially that run before the long layoff for trainer Phil D'Amato. He's in Corrales Barn now, gets Angel Cruz aboard this afternoon. Corrales and Cruz with a positive ROI of $2.23. I'm willing to forgive him, and actually it was a pretty good race there. When he broke toward the back of the pack, I said, well, maybe he's just not in form. He's lost his step. Well, you look at the head-on, he actually finished with some enthusiasm there back in his most recent start. The 11 there is interesting drawing in. He's another 9-year-old, right?
Yeah.
With the battle of the 9-year-olds, Tom Hagen, looking to run back to that midsummer race where he popped to the front and didn't look back. And as you said, speed has been doing okay in the turf. We did have a closer win yesterday.
We did.
But I think, especially I believe it was Sunday, I had it as kind of a speed favoring course here with the lack of rain here in Maryland. So Tom Hagen, if he runs back to that race 3 back, he just might take him all the way in this race. Could be speed of speed. U.S. Constitution is one of only 3 horses in the race that have won over the Laurel Turf course. He's a 2-time winner here, and a couple of races back on the grass. He faced a horse along with Prince Kozan named 2x2, who's got 5 wins this year, 4 of them on the lawn. I thought a wide open affair here in the 3rd race. You're ending up there with the U.S. Constitution.
Yep, absolutely. I think that the race kind of runs through this one. You can just kind of go on the back talent that this one has shown. Maybe not. This is a bit of a trip horse, but I do like, we get Georgia Ruiz back on 21% on the turf as of late with Trombetta, so that's something you can certainly trust.
All righty, let's go
Let's
to
get on to
race
it, yeah.
4. Yeah.
Race 4 starts that Rainbow Pick 6. We have a nice carryover of 7,000 getting into this fourth race. And we're going to take a look at my ticket real quickly before we dive in. Too deep here. I'd struggled to find a single on this ticket, so I feel like I kind of get lucky with the $28.80 ticket, to be honest. I know your last leg, Dave, has you have a single in a different spot. But the race that I'm most looking forward to there is race number 7, along with race number 5. If you want to go rider on race number 5, that turf race, definitely the one to do it on. That starts the late pick 5. We have a wonderful carryover in the late pick 5 as well, which we rarely get. So this $28.80 ticket, I'll dive through a little bit deeper in the afternoon, but we can get back to business here in the sense of diving into that first leg of the Rainbow Pick 6, a claiming 12.5, which have never won 2, going a mile and 16th on the turf for the 3-year-old and up, scratching the 1, scratching the 3. You go with the number 4, Dave, Cavendish. I like this on top here for Kerry Bryant. Xavier Perez, troubled trip last time out off of those Saratoga runs on an off track.
Yeah, Kerry Bryant looking to get out of a little bit of a cold streak at Laurel. The last few weeks, the barn's been hitting well, right? Or near 20%, but just maybe hasn't hit the beam quite well at Laurel. This horse, though, kind of really may be the one. A muddy track last time out, opening fractions 22-3, 46-3. It was a quick pace. He settled in between horses, was down toward the inside, angled to the outside in the stretch. And when you look at the video, I liked his will to fight. He fought for the place spot in that race and got it there as Coronation Time was just behind them. A willing finish there on a muddy track. It was, but I think against this group, he fits the spot. He's going to break from the inside now with a scratch of the 1 and the 3 and post 2 there. Coronation Time, ridden by Ori Ruiz, will draw the inside. He's right there into that quick run into the first turn. It looks like number 5, Bermuda Run, has one style, of course, right? His best races have been right to the front. You see back July 12th, 2 back, he went gate to wire with Barbosa. Same jock aboard him today. Drops in for 12.5. He was a vet scratch at Timonium back on August 25th. They're dropping him in, so perhaps a little bit of a license here, maybe with not much speed in the race, for him to attempt a gate wire job in race 4. Very fearful of his early speed in the spot. The 2 Coronation Time was just behind Cavendish last time out, and then the 6-horse last second Louis. He just doesn't seem to have that punch in the final 3/16 of a mile. He has some early speed. He may be the one to contest Bermuda Run at some point in the race. I just hadn't liked his follow-through. It's been a long time between drinks for him.
Okay, and that's where I kind of say, hey, this one might come up fresh. I kind of may need to be a little bit fresh. They may have just kind of, and you look at that winter campaign, and it's kind of like one after the other after the other. So they're just trying to get some space in between these races, and I think that might be a little bit of help. Batista doing well with the barn, 6 for 9. Either first or second on the dirt. So if not in first, I think this one could hold out in the top 3. But either way, the race, we kind of see this race very similarly. You go 4, 5, 2, 6 there in race number 4 for the first leg of that Rainbow Pick 6. Race number 5, we get back to the turf, but we also get, of course, a nice carryover of 7,200 for that late pick 5. That does not happen very often here. So as a result, Dave Rodman has a lovely ticket for you guys. Take it away, Dave, on your ticket.
Yeah, our pick 6 and pick 5 carryover similar today, more than $7,000. I thought a lot of these races are open and couldn't really find a single until I said, well, let me take a chance in the 8th race. Wara.
Yep. So just a quick update for everybody. You'll have to pick a different single, Dave, or go a different direction because your single, unfortunately, just scratched about 5 minutes ago with Wara. But I have a feeling we'll dive into that a little bit later. But you can still find something in that race because I thought that was a gutsy. Here's the thing that we'll get to that race, a little bit of a gutsy single. But take away from that race 8. Talk a little bit and focus on these races 5, 6, 7, and 9 for us if you can.
Yeah, I was just looking at that really just moments ago before Wara is out. So much for that single. Look at that in a bit. Anyway, 2, 6, and 9 to start it off. Surya and Lady Out of the Blue. We'll have a nice video of that horse in a moment. And Life, Love, and Laughter seems to be a quick pace for good setup for one of those three today in the fifth. The sixth race using 4, 7, and 10. Bold Honor, Irish Bandit, Dream River. Rob's have them surrounded with Irish Bandit and Dream River, but Bold Honor was just in behind there with a good effort last time out. The seventh race, I thought, a really open scramble here, especially with a late scratch of 4, Chess Master, who's out of the seventh race, and 9, Swill out of there. And I had a tough time kind of deciphering the pace of the race after Psychedelic Shock. We know he's very fast, but who's going to chase, who's going to close a little bit. So I went 2, 3, 6, and 8 in there in the seventh race, all with credentials to win. We'll touch a little bit on the eighth race in a bit. Again, this 4 is out. And 3, 7, and 8 in the finale there, with remembering Lizzie, the morning line favorite, the horse to beat. Kerry Bryant has Honestly, and then we have the 7-horse Tres Ares with an interesting stat for blinkers on. I'll throw to you for James Ryerson. Going to tease you there in race 9.
There we go. We'll get things sorted there. We may have an updated ticket for you in the afternoon, but let's dive into this first leg in the early pick 5, going 1 mile and 16th on the turf. For these girls 3 and up in this allowance optional 40,000 scratches in the 1, 14, 15, and 16 to 13 will run here. Dave, you and I go with the number 6 both in Lady Out of the Blue for Michael Matz, Angel Cruz. Let's take a look at that winning effort last time out in stakes action.
Yeah, I see a kind of a fast-paced, very honest-paced scenario unfolding here in the 5th on the grass. And this Lady Out of the Blue, Air Force Blue Mare, is in good form right now. Here she is, last out on yielding ground at Penn National, winning a little restricted stake there. She was a bit headstrong early in the race. If you go back and look at the early part of the race, made a bid at the 3-ace, angled 5 wide entering the stretch, and just aimed her head for the wire and went for it. Ran right through the wire there with a good effort and continued clear on the gallop out. Strong gallop out for her. She's in good form. Rubber stamped by the fact that not one but 2 horses have come out of that race to win. The runner-up, and I believe it was a 5th place finished horse out of the money, Princess Givenchy. So a double key race there for the Michael Matz Lady Out of the Blue. Surya certainly fits the bill here as another closer, and she has experience over this Laurel course as well, with a 2nd place finish from a couple of tries there. You see 3 back. Colonial, she was behind Tufani. Really nice mare who's 6 for 11 lifetime, all of her wins on the grass. So there's a big class line there for her. Life, Love, and Laughter. Last win was back June over this course with a great setup. Look at the fractions there, 22, 3, 45, and 4. I don't know if they'll go that fast today, but I think the pace will be honest. So she got a setup win, but could get a setup again on the grass course, a course which she likes, a win and a 2nd from 3 tries over this lawn. And down the bottom is 11 Ruda, another kind of off the pace type in this spot. I thought looked good in the muddy track win, taken off the grass there and beaten only a couple lengths on the Pimlico lawn. Light race lightly raced this year, only a couple of starts in the races, some time in between races there. But I guess Paper Mansion is going to show some early speed here. She's a 7-time winner this year.
Right, and she hasn't really tried Laurel. She's tried Laurel. Actually, no, she hasn't tried. She's tried the Laurel turf twice, 1st and 2nd on those efforts, but it's been a while, so that's the only interesting thing about it. But I've got to throw her in just on the way, just, with what we've seen from her as an individual alone, Dave.
All righty, so hoping for a quick pace there. The 5th race to
me at least.
Kick off that Big 5.
Let's go ahead and dive into that 2nd leg here in race number 6. Starts the Jackpot Super High 5 and starts the late pick 4 as well. And before we get into that, we will get into our commercial, and we will be right back to discuss those. And welcome back here. Of course, that jackpot super high five and that late pick four begins in race number 6 here. And we have a nice, and of course, the jackpot super high five, 15% takeout going in if you can place those horses in between 1 and 5. And also starts the late pick four as well. And it begins here in this claiming 12-5, which have never won 3, going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt. Dave, you and I both have the number 4, Bold Honor, on top, and Net Eubanks, J. Ron Barbosa, something to talk about. We also have the number 11 in here, Dream River, underneath. Very, very interesting spot that this one comes in for Gina Robb and Xavier Perez. Let's go ahead and take a look at that effort from the 13th of September going this route of ground.
Yeah, I decided to show this race as Dream River to show how fast he is. He did get chewed up in a 3-way prolonged duel on a muddy track last time out, so I'm tossing that race. This is the race 2 back, though, won by Big Daddy's Boy. The other Rob in the race, I believe that gave Wesley Hill 1,000 career wins there, was that, if I'm thinking correctly. But Bold Honor was just behind Dream River in finishing third in the spot. And there you go, not beaten too far, only a half length. So there's not a lot between them, and I think with that inside draw sitting right off with speed today, near inside post there, I'm going to go with Bold Honor. Barbosa, Eubanks, that's been a tough combination.
Yes.
Big positive ROI for those two together. So maybe turning the tables perhaps on Dream River today. The 7 is another John Robb horse there, Irish Bandit, who has some early speed in his own right, but he did come from slightly off of it, opened up and was nabbed by Big Daddy's Boy. Paco the Taco Man, runner-up out of that race, came back to run big on Maryland Million Day. Yeah. So I kind of like the running line there. And then to the outside, Sweet Asta. Could be bombs away today. This horse has a tendency sometimes to run a big one when you
Just
least
show
expect it, right? Has been off since December of last year. Last one was an upset at 14-1. If things go crazy up front, Sweet Asta and come rolling to pick up the pieces today. I wish that she had a race kind of under the belt right coming into this. But it's kind of a horse that a little bit under the radar. I'm going to chase a little bit. I'm going to watch her today.
Definitely. Comes in at a nice 30-1 price there underneath for Dave Rodman. 4, 7, 10, 9 there in that jackpot super high five. And the start of that late pick 4 as we go ahead to race number 7. And we're back on the turf here going second wire finish, going 5.5 here, and an allowance optional 40,000. Scratch in the 9 Swill, and then a late scratch in the number 4 Chess Master. Huge scratch there. Affects things dearly. But Dave, you go with the number 6 Cloudy on top as a little bit of a consolation there. Shug McGahee, Angel Cruz, but that's a solid choice underneath for this one. Absolutely. Race on black and white kind of runs through this one.
Well, Cloudy, one thing is clear. Psychedelic Shack has a lot of early speed. Inevitable Connection back on the turf should have some early speed. So we're looking to mix it up there, that opening quarter mile. Looking for a horse who might get position. I know Cloudy hasn't won since October 2022 at Keeneland, but was a good fourth behind Ambivalent. A horse who's 4 for 11 in the career, 2 back at Colonial Downs there. So maybe today's the day he could pull the trick sitting right off the quick pace. He breaks near the inside, they're mid-pack, go maybe save some ground and sneak up on him in that final furlong headed to the second wire finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
This race again, there are several horses here who have a chance. Vamos Viejo comes out of what I had as his best race lifetime for trainer Kelly Breen. Kelly Breen does win in Maryland, right, shipping from Monmouth, but his record on the turf, win percentage not quite as good as his dirt percentage there. Number 8, Barzini, hasn't been seen since August for the Trombetta Barn, who's hot as of late. Then Barzini runs behind Swill in here on August 16th. Swill's run a couple of times since that race and off the claim for Hugh McMahon. Barzini, though, with a couple of powerful runs there, 2 and 3 back, and likes Laurel, has won 2 of 3. I have these horses really close together here.
Yeah,
6, 3, 2, 8.
It's a big spread race here in race number 7. I went 5 wide on my ticket before we had that scratch, but also 6, 3, 8, 2 for race Dave Rodman in race number 7. Back on the turf here for race number 8. Our feature allowance race of the day, restricted allowance here, going 5.5 on the turf for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratches in the 2, 8, 13 and 14, and the 11 is a late scratch as well. Dave, you go with number 4. Obviously, is a late
Uh,
scratch with that as well. So, Dave, you go with Mission Man on top. You land on Mission Man the same as I do because I had Wara on top as well. Here for Liz Merriman, Georgie Ruiz comes back here comes back and cuts back in distance here, and I think that's the biggest takeaway for this one.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
horse has been consistent over the Laurel turf. Brother to Caravel, as we all know now. Mission Man, Jorge Ruiz up there for Elizabeth Merriman. The mile and a 16th, perhaps not to his liking last time out when Who's Counting pulls an upset over Vaccination. But the race 2 back at Delaware I thought was pretty good. 7.5 behind Smithick's Spice, who's a 13-time winner, a multiple stakes winner, 8-year-old who's in some of the best form of this year at the age of 8. The Benz Cat sprinting 3 races back without Lasix. He gets it back today. Theirs is not a stake. He was only beaten 2 lengths behind When I Get to Heaven. So he's got some good running lines there in the form and obviously the pedigree to do it. With Wara out of the race, I'm counting on Mission Man here.
Yeah.
Let's single him.
Yeah, okay, we're going to single for Dave on Mission Man.
In that pick 5.
There we go. Perfect.
Since we couldn't single Wara, we'll go with the next best dog pig.
There we go.
Right.
Touch quickly on the number 6 in Incinerator and the number 10 in Shape Note. Damon DeLavico, Javian Toledo, and the 6, as I said, Incinerator, Jose Magana, Horacio Caramanos here.
Had kind of a good trip on the turf at Colonial in the non-winners of 3 for Arnaud Delacour. Was claimed out of that race, came back on a race taken off the turf, and sat right off the speed of one-way traffic and blew their doors away there, that final 16th of a mile to win by daylight. A little tougher company, but gets back on the grass. He's won on the grass here before, so I'm going to use him first off the claim for Magana. This is a horse who may be, I think, just a timely claim right now. He's got form on the grass. He's in good form and can sit right off of any speed in this spot. I mean, looking at the race, you know, I guess Intrepid's legacy is trying to go from the outside, assuming his dirt form transfers to speed. So I think he'll be right on the engine there up close. He has rateable type speed, does Incinerator. And the 10 there on the outside, Shape Note, kind of disappointed last time out. But they were really winging out there. 21 and 4. Watch Out World. Surprise Hello. They went big fractions up front, and he was kind of outkicked and then retreated there. One whirlwind ride, Wara, who scratched today, beat him, but his race 2 back, race taken off the grass behind SS Sinatra. A good try, I thought. He never really gave up the fight, and he's slightly rateable from off the pace as well. Very sharp start he had in his last race. And then he was inhaled by the speedsters. I mean, he was the Watch Out World, Surprise Hello were just too much. I thought, oh, he's going to the front. And then they inhaled him and he kind of retreated. So maybe a kind of pace scenario today for Shape Note.
There we go. New single for Dave Ryman in his late pick 5. Take it with Mission Man there. 5, 6, 10 as we go on to our finale. And the maiden claiming 12-5 for the girls 2 years old straight. Going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt here. Dave, you and I both go with Remembering Lizzie, but you do go wider on your ticket with the 7 and the 3 underneath Trez Eras. And honestly, to wrap things up with the number 10, Pretty Geisha on the outside for Kevin Boniface.
Yeah, the Salzman barn with these maiden claimers, especially in a drop dyke list. A filly who's had a couple of good races, one at Timonium, one over this track. You see the comment there as a beaten favorite was willing. I'd like to see that inside rivals. Keith, the Bill's comment from upstairs on your Echo Base chart. I mean, she should really fit this spot. There was no rider named at entry time yet who rides Toledo, right?
Yeah.
That's a good sign, right? So they reached out, got him, and that's the filly to beat. Trez Eras, told you I had a little stat to dangle for you for James Ryerson. It's blinkers on, right? Just confirming that. Blinkers on, a drop off of 2 races where she was beaten a total of, 89 lengths.
Yep.
But the blinkers go on. Here's your
Right.
stat. Blinkers on maidens for James Ryerson last 5 years, 7 for 30, 23%, and a positive return on investment at $2.82.
Okay.
So the drop, the blinkers, maybe the wake up and a big form reversal this afternoon, what you see on paper at least. I mean, on the drop, she should run better anyway, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, there we go. Kerry Bryan filly with another drop. It was, again, 20% the last 30 days for the Bryan barn.
Right.
A bit of a struggle at Laurel, but they got a couple of live
Yeah.
shots in today.
Yeah, no. Definitely fits here. I can totally see it. I just wanted to actually see it, but I think returning back to the dirt will help this one a little bit here. Victor Carrasco going to be aggressive with this one. Dave Rodman, 8-7, 310.
And I wanted to mention that outside filly, too, pretty geisha. First Samurai at Hewlett Bay. It's a half to a 5-time winner named AC Expressway, who was kind of a miler type horse.
Yep.
She's a little smallish filly. Appeared to be a little bit green in that race at Delaware Park. Maybe just a little bit of a subtle change
Right.
or something maybe today. She could run better second time out. She's got the pedigree to
Yeah.
be a winner. AC Expressway, 5-time winner.
There we go, and we will dive into Dave Rodman's value play of the day here in race number 5 on the number 6 at 8-1 Lady out of the blue for Michael Matz and Angel Cruz.
Yeah, and I think you like this filly too, right?
I do.
This mare
She's
today.
on top, yep.
Lady out of the blue, coming off of a win, a yielding ground where the race has produced 2 winners, a second place finisher, and then Princess Givenchy was out of the money, came back to win. She was a bit headstrong early in the race at Penn, finally settled, made a nice bid at the 3/8 pulled around the far turn, angled to the outside, and she was very straight and willing to run through the wire, and a good gallop out too. It's kind of a now mare in here for trainer Michael Matz. Lady out of the blue, our value play, 8-1 on the morning line. I guess I don't have a best bet now since it was a late scratch.
Yes, so let's go
But
ahead.
we did go with Mission Man.
We
replacing
did.
that
Mission
one.
Man in that new single
in
there
the-
for Dave
yeah,
Rodman
right.
in his late pick 5, but also wanted to talk about the future, but the future is right now. Talking about that filly that has just been such a dominant figure here. She second straight win there in the Franklin, 4th in a stakes and 5th in 9 starts this year. Got the fastest time in 101 and 4.7 in the Franklin's 28-year history. So, of course, she's eligible for Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, but they're going to give her a little bit of a breather. The plan is to just give her some time off and then come back for the Giants Causeway at Keeneland next spring.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then maybe the very one.
The very one, yeah.
At Pimlico, right? We might see her hopefully in Maryland back again. Congratulations to Larry Johnson, right? And I tell you, I watched that race. She like 10-1 headed to the gate. And
Yeah.
going, that's crazy. So anyway, I think she would have wound up going up like 5-6-1
Yep.
and winning there. So really, really nice filly for Larry Johnson on a breeder.
There we go. And we are just I'm going to get off set, and we're going to let Dave Rodman give you some more late changes and scratches here. 24 minutes to race 1.
Changes coming up.